On the news, federal government exempts tertiary institutions from IPPIS. As Rivers crisis deepens, Fubara signs 800 billion naira appropriation bill into law. In Ondo State, Ayedatiwa calls for unity and prayers for Akeredolu in statewide broadcast. It's a pleasure to have you join us on TV 360 Nigeria. I'm Tamilore Akinkolye. Lecturers of public tertiary institutions in Nigeria can now heave a sign of relief as the federal government has now removed public tertiary institutions from the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPPIS. It's been a long-standing demand of the lecturers. The government has also approved the procurement and maintenance contracts for the new airport terminal in Lagos and the Port Harcourt Airport at a combined cost of over 6 billion naira, while also announcing plans to review the issuance of waivers on the duties in the country. These were part of the decisions taken at the Federal Executive Council meeting held on Wednesday in Abuja. TV 360's correspondent Tunji Olawale has more on the story.
In March 2020, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, embarked on a 7-month strike because of the stoppage of salaries of its members who failed to enroll in the federal government-approved Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System. The issue remained contentious as ASU continued to push for the approval of its own designed University Transparency and Accountability Solution, UTAS. The federal government has now given in to the demand of the lecturers, taking public universities off the IP's payroll system. Before now, when the tertiary education institutions want to make recruitment, they have to run to the office of the head of service, for waiver, for approval, for all that sort of thing. Today, too, the council, through the directive of the president, has exempted them from that they will have nothing to do. They don't have to go to the office of the head of service because it is actually not in their line of supervision. Since international flight operations commenced at the new terminal of the Muritala Mohammed Airport, Lagos, in October 2023, there had been calls on the government to ensure the new terminal does not go the way of the old one. The Federal Executive Council is now addressing that concern. It's awarded a contract for the continued maintenance of the terminal over the next 5 years, as well as the upgrading of navigational facilities at the airport in Port Harcourt. We have struck a deal with the same people who built the place. It's only natural that they are the same ones who should maintain their facilities for the first 5 years. That is what this technical support service contract is for the first 5 years. We have said that they should maintain their chillers, the air handling units, the passenger boarding bridge, the escalators at the concourse, the remote boarding lifts that were specifically made for the physically challenged, and all those facilities they put there. The issue of waivers and duties that generated a lot of controversy in recent times, with the Senate saying the country was losing so much revenue from indiscriminate granting of waivers. The federal government is now acting on the issue, saying a review is underway.
Some of these waivers actually are backed by law, and therefore you can't just wake up and say we are done with them. So we will review all that. The government will review that and see which ones are in the best interest of Nigeria and how to continue to allow them to function. The most important thing to note is that government is losing a lot of money in that direction, and that is why this very critical decision has to be taken. Only those waivers that are backed by law will be allowed to subsist.
Nigeria has been battling a serious revenue challenge. Gains made from the review of the waivers are expected to further boost government revenue and provide much-needed funding for the 2024 budget. Tunji Olawale, TV 360 Lagos.
I am now being joined by Professor John Oyefara from the Faculty of Social Science, University of Lagos, to discuss more on the exemption of tertiary institutions from IPPIS. It's good to have you join us, John. Now that the federal government has removed tertiary institutions from IPPIS, what are your expectations from this move?
Thank you very much. There are so many expectations from this move. And then one of these expectations is that the university management will be able to run the university appropriately without any hindrance whatsoever in terms of the administration of the university activities. So we are expecting that the university will be able to do the needful to be able to make the university function as it used to be before the introduction of the IPPS.
Well, we all know that ASU designed university transparency and accountability solution for its salaries. So how can we ensure that this doesn't elicit accusations of corruption when it is deployed?
I strongly believe that the system, there are different ways by which we have check and balances in our society. So the check and balances will help us to be able to do, there are some internal mechanisms. There are some internal mechanisms that can be adjusted, which will help us to checkmate and make sure that university is properly managed the way it should be. So IPPIS is prone to error. So we can also bring out a mechanism by which we can address the problem.
All right, Professor John Oyefara from the Faculty of Social Science, University of Lagos. Thank you for joining us. Now, as part of efforts to restore integrity and credibility to the civil service, the chairman of the Federal Civil Service Commission, Tunji Olawale, has vowed to undertake a comprehensive rebranding initiative. According to him, the move is aimed at addressing the long-standing challenges faced by the civil service and paving the way for a more efficient and transparent system. On his part, the newly sworn-in chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offense Commission, Musa Aliyu, expressed gratitude to President Tinubu for entrusting him with a crucial role. He acknowledged the gravity of the task ahead, but emphasized his confidence in achieving success with the support of his team.
Charge given to us indicate that the administration has put the civil service in the renewed hope agenda. So there is a specific charge for every stakeholder, including the Office of the Head of Service, to collaborate to come to the sense that the civil service has challenges and that we need to reposition. We need to beef up the capability readiness. We need to modernize by deploying technology. We need to reinstitute professionalism and competency-based human resource management. We need to move the civil service to a position where it could help government to deliver on its agenda.
I have taken out of office. I will abide by the laws of office, and I will discharge my duties in accordance with the ICPC Act to support the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President. I want to assure Nigerians and Mr. President that I will lead by example, and I will also live above board, and I will abide by my oath of office.
The Joint Committee of the National Assembly on Trade, Industry and Investment has queried the Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment over the proposed $1 billion appropriated for a trip to Geneva in 2024. While defending her ministry's budget before the committee, Doris Uzoka, who was faced with the task of explaining a line item about a trip to Geneva, Senator representing Edo North Adams Oshiomhole, however, dismissed the estimate as humongous and a waste of public funds.
The 2024 budget of the ministry is made up of selected projects and programs designed to stimulate economic growth and national development. These projects and programs are also intended to fast-track the attainment of the renewed hope agenda in the Industry, Trade and Investment Ministry. The ministry remains committed to achieving its vision of promoting economic growth, creating jobs, and generating wealth, as well as formulating and implementing policies and programs that will attract both foreign direct investment and increase the local participation by local industries, boost industrialization, increase trade and exports, and also encourage development of enterprises.
Every time Nigeria has to travel, including your ministry, we always have the largest delegation of Nigerians to trade missions. Now I see in your proposal, you have trade mission in Geneva, and you are going to spend almost over 1.70 billion naira to maintain your Geneva office, which means ideally you have trade experts in that office. And when I used to go to Geneva, where Nigerian ministers go with 30-man delegation, America will use their trade officers in Geneva to attend those meetings. They are just pure technical people. In Nigeria, the minister will lead the delegation, and by the time you multiply now, I don't know what the ETA code is now, times 1,000, whatever it is, you'll find that ministers in trying to help put their people on trips, they don't attend the meetings, and they spend most of that time shopping.
Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has signed into law the 2024 appropriation bill of 800 billion naira, a day after he presented the budget estimate to the State House of Assembly led by Edison AE. The ceremony was witnessed by the Deputy Governor Ngozi Odu, some members of the State Executive Council, present and former lawmakers who support Governor Fubara, and some chairmen of the People's Democratic Party at the local government areas. The governor in his address said the estimate 800 billion will be well implemented to provide critical infrastructure like the second phase of the Kalabari Road and meet the socio-economic needs of the people. Meanwhile, the Rivers State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice Zacchaeus Adango has resigned. Adango, who was one of the cabinet members of former Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike, said his exit from office was based on personal principles and not connected to the political crisis currently rocking the state. Earlier on, I spoke with Jide Ojo, a political affairs analyst from Abuja, to speak more on the political crisis in Rivers State. I began by asking Jide his take on how the governor sent an 800 billion naira budget to a four-man House of Assembly, and in less than 24 hours, he had his budget passed into law.
First and foremost, you cannot present appropriation bill to a House of 4 members out of 32. And aside from that, the legislative process for any law, this is not just confirmation. Any law is that it goes through the first reading, the second reading, it goes to committee stage. From committee stage, if there is need for public hearing, you will do public hearing. Then there is a report back before the final passage. When was the first reading done? When was the second reading done? Which committee sat on this? So it's just absurd. I have never seen this kind of, impunity in my life. How could you submit a budget to 4 members who does not even form a quorum of the assembly? You know, a quorum of 32 is 11. You are supposed to have a quorum, and then there should be committee working on the budget. There should ordinarily be budget defense. If you look at what's happening
at the federal level, the heads of ministries, departments, and agencies are being summoned to come and defend their last year's budget and what they have in this year's budget. So for the fact that all of these processes and procedures were not observed, I guess this cannot be regarded as an appropriation law by any stretch of imagination.
Jide, because of time, briefly tell us how you think all these ongoing absurdities in Rivers State can come to an end.
When the leaders of thought, the people who matter in Rivers State, when the president of the country decides to mediate, it will end. Because there is no legal prescription. The two parties have gone to court. And you know the court processes take very long to go through. It may take years. It is just going to be in order for President Tinubu to wade in, for former Governor Peter Odili of Rivers State to wade in, for religious and traditional rulers in Rivers State to wade in, for people of good conscience, maybe National Peace Committee, headed by former head of state, Abdulsalami Abubakar, can also be asked to wade into this whole crisis. Perhaps we can also have someone like former President Goodluck Jonathan also being asked to wade in. But leaders of thought, people of good conscience, needs to wade in to resolve this crisis once and for all.
That was Jide Ojo, a political affairs analyst, giving his take on the crisis in Rivers State. Now in Ondo State, in a statewide broadcast on Thursday morning, the acting governor of the state, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, called on residents to embrace unity as the state strives to return to a path of accelerated progress. Aiyedatiwa assumed office following the transmission of power to him by his principal, who is on medical leave, a move that was subsequently rectified by the State Assembly. During the address, the acting governor urged the people of the Southwest State not to waver in their prayers for the swift recovery of the good health and strength for Governor Rotimi Akeredolu. Now, the transfer of power to Deputy Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has sparked various reactions, with political affairs analyst Femi Lawson expressing his views in an interview with TV 360. Lawson emphasized that the people of Ondo State have endured a lack of effective governance for the past 6 months due to the ill health of the governor. In his assessment, Lawson stated that the transmission of power to the acting governor places a significant responsibility on Aiyedatiwa to provide leadership and steer the affairs of the state during this period.
You agree with me that there have been absence of governance in Ondo State due to the unfortunate, ill health of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, who, of course, since June or thereabout, has been out of the state. And of course, even when he claimed to return in September, he was still unable to make it down to the state. And of course, what we had was a situation whereby a very few persons, mostly non-state actors, have been in charge of, governance in Ondo State against the law and the dictates of our constitution. So practically for 6 months, Ondo State have been without any clearly defined leadership. So for moving forward, acting Governor Aiyedatiwa must understand that he has a duty to the people of Ondo State to return governance back to them, to ensure that government begin to do that is expected of the government to the people, and of course provide leadership in these circumstances where the people are actually looking forward to those things that the leaders are expected to do for them as a people. You talk about the workers in the state, the ordinary people, the artisans, and all sector of the society that has been left in confusion over the last 6 months due to the absence of Governor Akeredolu and the inability of those with Governor Akeredolu to allow, his deputy to properly act as the acting governor in his absence.
We'll go on a break here, but still to come, NNPC remit 4.5 trillion naira revenue in 10 months. Details of the story right after this break. Welcome back. Now, a recap of our top stories. The Federal Executive Council (FEC) has approved the removal of universities and other tertiary institutions in the country from the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System (IPPIS), allowing the schools to deal with the salary issues of their staffs internally. The Minister of Education, Tori Maman, disclosed this while briefing the State House correspondent along with other ministries on the outcome of the FEC meeting and said this takes effect immediately. We also told you the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has signed into law the 2024 appropriation bill of 800 billion naira, a day after he presented the budget estimate to the State House of Assembly led by Edison AE. The governor in his address said the estimated 800 billion naira will be well implemented to provide critical infrastructure like the second phase of the Kalabari Road and meet the socio-economic needs of the people. Now, in case you missed any of the news bulletin or for more updates, you can catch us on Limes World TV or log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at TV360 Nigeria, or download our mobile app on Google Play Store, Huawei App Gallery, and Apple Play Store. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. In business, the Chief Executive Officer of NNPC, Mele Kyari, has remitted 4.5 trillion naira as revenue to the Federation account in October. Kyari revealed this on Wednesday when he appeared before the Senate Committee on Finance to defend the company's budget for the 2024 fiscal year. He explained that the establishment of the Petroleum Industry Act helped the NNPCL to improve its operation. He added that the company is striving towards transparency and balancing of its financial records.
And I also inform you, Mr. Chairman, that up to October 2023, we're able to deliver 4.5 trillion naira as a company to this country. Mr. Chairman, every national oil company has a trading company. We have always had one. It never worked. Because we are working under a commercial setup under the corporation, a number of things that are not clearly necessary. But today, the reform has brought us to be at par with our peers across the globe. I am very confident that by the end of first quarter next year, those margins will narrow and stability will come, and you will see others coming into the market. So what we are doing now is that we are managing that instability because we are bulk buyers, we have access to market, we are huge buyers, and we're able to lose in one cargo of import and also stabilize on the other. Overall, an average is that we're not losing money.
We'll take a break here. Stock market report is next. Investors on the local bourse have recorded another session of positive close as the market on Thursday appreciated by 0.22%. After the trading session, the market cap stood at 39.66 trillion naira mark. In aggregate, 123 NGS listed equities participated in trading, ending with 26 gainers against 27 losers. Infinity Trust Mortgage Bank led the gainers category boost with 9.83% share price appreciation, closing at 2.57 Naira per share, followed by John Alt PSC. On Thursday, investors exchanged a total of 446 million volumes of shares valued at over 7 billion naira in 6,845 deals. Now over to our select global stocks. Is all positive trading day for the UK FTSE and US Dow Jones with 1.22% and 0.27%, leaving only Japan's Nikkei on the bears with 0.73%. On the global scene, the World Health Organization (WHO) has extended its congratulations to President Ahmed Bola Tinubu on the occasion of unveiling of Nigeria's Health Sector Renewal Investment Initiative. In a message delivered in commemoration of the Universal Health Coverage Day 2023, WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus hailed the initiative as a pivotal moment for Nigerians and the entire continent.
Today could be a turning point for Nigeria and indeed for Africa. The scale of your ambition is a model for other countries, and if implemented, it will send a powerful message throughout our continent that universal health coverage is possible. It can be done. If a country as large and complex as Nigeria can achieve UHC, then anyone can. I'm especially pleased to see that all levels of government and all sectors are represented here today. Governors, senators, ministers, phase leaders, bilateral and multilateral partners, and civil society. You have understood clearly that achieving universal health coverage is not a job for the Ministry of Health alone. It takes a whole of government and whole of society approach. Of course, you're not starting from scratch. You're building on investments and gains in health over many years. Nigeria has many achievements of which to be proud. Interrupting transmission of wild polio virus, managing COVID-19, improving immunization coverage, expanding health insurance, reducing the burden of HIV, malaria and tuberculosis, and responding to multiple disease outbreaks.
Finally, in sports, the head of the International Olympic Committee, Thomas Bach, has defended the decision to permit Russian and Belarusian athletes to participate in the 2024 Paris Olympic as neutrals. Bach, in a forum in Geneva, said that individual athletes should not be penalized for the actions of their governments, emphasizing that the conflict between Russia and Ukraine is just one of many global conflicts. While the IOC received requests from Olympic Sport Federation to allow Russian and Belarusian athletes to participate independently, some countries, including the US and UK, advocated for a complete ban due to the ongoing war in Ukraine. And that wraps up our bulletin on news now. Many thanks for watching. I'm Tamilore Akinkolie. Bye for now.